Every great champion knows that success, overcoming, and winning in life is no accident. Creating individual success is like having a recipe for a great meal. It only works if you know how to use the ingredients. As a best-selling author, entrepreneur, business coach, strategist, and champion, the Lewis Howard Live Show provides you the insider's view on winning. All we do is win, 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 helping you become the best version of yourself. Hey, welcome to another edition of Lewis Howard Live. Thank you for joining and being part of another conversation. And we appreciate all of our new listeners on the Lewis Howard channel on YouTube and, of course, Spotify and all the places that we broadcast the show. So we are thankful, appreciate it, and enjoy having you being part of the conversation. Look, I don't need to tell you that life hits hard. Anyone that's lived more than 5 minutes on the planet knows that life can hit hard. Life can knock you down, but like a good fighter, you have to dig deep within yourself and find the ability, the will, the determination to get up again. The defeat in life, when life hits you, no matter what area it is, if you are a student that didn't pass your grade, or you've gone through a bad marriage or divorce or financial loss, bankruptcy, the pandemic, anything that's impacting, and we know that right now in the world, a lot of people are being impacted by what's going on. The defeat is not the impact. The defeat is never getting up again. You can't stay down if you get knocked down. You've got to find it within yourself to get up. You fall off the horse, as my grandmother used to say, you got to get up and ride it again. And so like any good fighter, you got to get up. But when you get up, one of the things you have to do is you got to brace yourself. You have to steady your feet, right? You watch any fight, the referee's giving the 10 count, and they're giving the fighter the opportunity to steady themselves so that they don't get immediately knocked down again. How do you steady yourself? How do you brace yourself so you don't hit the deck again? So we're going to talk about what it means to brace yourself. That's the topic of the show. Brace yourself, right? We all had to brace ourselves for the pandemic, for all of the things that have gone on in 2020. The start of a new decade has been rough on the world. We've had social justice change. We've had economy in many places shut down, stay-at-homes, elections, you name it. We have had it, and we've had to brace ourselves for it. Some have done well, and some not so well. So we're going to take the word brace tonight, and we're going to break it down into several words that will hopefully give you maybe a thought, maybe an insight as to how do I brace myself when life hits me unexpectedly. It's one thing when life hits you and you know it. It's another thing when it hits you unexpectedly. So stay with us. We're going to talk about brace yourself. You want to hear this conversation because it's worth the time that you will invest tonight to listen to Lewis Howard Live. Stay with us. We'll be right back after just a quick break and a shout out to our sponsors.
Lewis Howard of Lewis Howard Live has partnered with Amazon Books to bring you his dynamic, life-changing book. From Here to There is the best-selling biopic journey of Lewis Howard's road from adopted child in poverty to achieving over $1 billion in real estate assets. Lewis shares his secrets and principles, which helped make his meteoric rise to the top an inspiration to millions. Lewis Howard, From Here to There, available on Amazon Books at createspace.com/450-6888. Get it today.
Hey, this is Lewis Howard. Welcome back to the conversation. I'm glad you could join us, especially all of our new listeners around the world. We're hitting it big in Japan and Canada, Italy, Spain, and different places around the world through all of the platforms. And of course, we're bringing you the show live from our new partners in Seattle, Mob Studios. We like to say Lewis Howard Live, powered by Mob Studios. And so this is where we get to have this great conversation in this great facility, and being able just to break it down and continue the conversation that we started with you 10 years ago from my kitchen, having conversation about the real things that we deal in life. So today we're talking about bracing. What does that mean? Well, bracing means to break it down, just to expand into steadiness. So when you break something or injure a part of your body, you have to wear a brace, right? The doctor tells you, hey, you need to be in a cast 4 to 6 weeks because you got to brace the injury. I remember recently I broke my ankle. I slipped on the floor and fell and injured my ankle. And so I was in a cast for 4 to 6 weeks. I had to brace that ankle so I could steady it, so I could support it, and so it could get well again. But what happens when you break life? When you break relationships, when you break deals, when you break opportunities, right? And that breaks. How do you brace yourself? When you're hit with a pandemic and suddenly you're running a business and the government tells you you have to shut your business down. You can't have people eating inside your restaurant. You got to eat outside. You can only do to-go orders only. Or you got to wear a mask everywhere you go, and you are not used to wearing masks. You got to cover up. You got to brace up. And so bracing really has a broad-based meaning in our culture, especially today, because to deal with the challenge that we are having to brace ourselves. So I want to talk about some acronyms in the word brace. Number one is your emotions. Are you stable in your emotions? How you feel about life? We're going through this election. How do you feel about that? We're going through different culture changes. How do you feel about that? How does that affect your day? How does that affect your sleep? Did you know that 51% of Americans can't sleep? They live in $1 million house, got $1 million bed, and can't sleep without taking some type of sleeping pills or something to augment their ability to sleep. That's a terrible thing. That means that you have some emotional things that won't allow your mind to shut down. Especially when you go through hard times and things that suddenly hit you, your emotions are all over the map. And most men think that only women are emotional. They don't think, well, men are not emotional. Let me tell you, men are just as emotional as women. The difference is that men act it out differently. Women cry, men fight. Okay? Guys rage. That's how we tend to get our emotions out. We are referred to as a-holes, right? Because we're just being that way because emotions are getting out of hand. You get fired from a job and you're a dude, you're going to have an emotional reaction of that. But interesting about emotions, because emotions is how we it's our temperature, it's our thermometer of how we deal with things in life. And the same emotions that can make you a great leader can make you a bad father. That's right. The same emotions that powers you at work, empowers you to manage people, empowers you to get the job done, can make you bad at home. Because if you come home with that same type of emotion and drive, your family may not respond to it. Same emotions, different application. So to brace yourself, you got to be stable in your emotions. You can't let your feelings have you driving up and down the interstate flipping everybody off because they cut in front of you, because you're off the hook and out of control because your emotions are being impacted not by the drive, but probably by something that happened at home or something that happened in your business or something that happened in your job. So you got to fight for the stability of emotions. I have a saying that says, I'm not moved by how I feel. I'm not moved by what the temperature is today. If I'm going to exercise, it doesn't matter if it's cloudy, rainy, snowy, or whatever, I'm bringing the exercise. I don't allow my emotions to control me. People are losing their mind because they're allowing their emotions or how they feel about the pandemic, about the stay-at-home order, how they feel about not able to go to their favorite restaurant and sit down and have dinner. They're freaking out. And so you can't be stable if you don't have control over your emotions. Your emotions cannot be like the roller coaster at Disneyland, up and down and up. You have to reach a level of maturity in life that you says, hey, my emotions don't control me. Children allow their emotions to control them, but that's because they're children, right? A 5-year-old throws a tantrum and a fit because they haven't learned to control their emotions. But if you are 40 years old and you're still throwing a fit because you didn't get your latte on time, you might need to check yourself, because I think you might be wrecking yourself from an emotional standpoint. So to brace yourself means I got to have control over my emotions. I can't let my emotions run wild. Second point of bracing yourself is my commitment. What am I committed to? What would I trade my time, my money, my energy, and my life for? Right? A lot of people are not committed to very much. They are all over the map, right? You ask them one day, they feel about something this day. Then you ask them again, they're committed to another thing, right? Vegans. I've known people that say they're vegan and they're committed to not eat any meat products, and then you catch them eating a Dick burger, right? They catch them at McDonald's. Well, wait a minute. What happened to your commitment to be a vegan? You said you were going to save for the down payment of your house, but you saw the 85-inch TV and you had to have it. Suddenly your commitment was not there. You didn't do what you said you are going to do. Sadly enough, 50% of all marriages end in a divorce because of the commitment. People stood up in front of people, bought rings, bought watches, bought clothes, bought makeup, did all of this thing, and got into the relationship and didn't keep the commitment. You got to keep your commitment. If you say that you're going to do something, people have to know that they can count on you. We need a commitment during this pandemic. We need people to be committed that says, hey, I'm going to open my business. I'm going to keep doing what I'm good at. I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep showing out. And I'm not going to let how I feel about what's going on or what people are saying or what group is doing this or what group is doing that affect my commitment. That's real life. That's real life. That's old school. That's people that got up every day at 6 o'clock to go out and work their fields because they were committed. That's mom getting up every day to make sure you had lunch to go to school because she was committed. She's committed. She didn't let how she felt break her commitment. What allows you to break your commitment? Did you get too high to fly? Did you spend too much time in the club, in the bar? Did you do too much of the wrong thing? Did you eat too much? You said you were committed to losing 20 pounds, but all of a sudden Thanksgiving came and you ate like a horse. What happened to your commitment? Can't brace yourself. If you get knocked down with a weak commitment, you're not going to be able to get back up. That's just life. That's just life. Ask any championship player that plays football, that plays NBA, that plays hockey. They got to be committed. They got to be committed to the game. It's not a suggestion. It is a commitment. So if you just joined us, we're talking about this thing called brace yourself. You got to brace yourself for the things that are happening in life and the things that will continue to happen in life. The next thing is our attitude. Right? Embracing, I've got to have a positive attitude. That's not Pollyanna. That's not just reading some positive message. I got to have the right attitude, which goes with the right mindset. I can't have a funky, nasty, jacked up attitude and expect people to help me and embrace me in my success. Your attitude has to be right. A good attitude attracts winners. It attracts partners. It attracts people that want to help you. I run multiple companies, and I can tell you that I hire on attitude and I fire on attitude. Because once a person's attitude goes south, they're no good for the mission, the goal, or the objective. Attitude. As Zig Ziglar once said, attitude affects your altitude. Your attitude affects your stability, and it affects how high you go. That's real business. You can read about it, you can study it, you can Google it, but attitude really makes a big difference. Your attitude towards your spouse, towards your partner, towards your business partners, towards your boss, towards your supervisor, it makes a difference. It makes a difference. It's not about wage and hour. It's not about union. It's not about time cards and lunches and breaks and benefits. It's about attitude. How is your attitude? I've spent so much time in life where I've had an attitude about people I just don't like. I just don't want to deal with them because they're just not fun to deal with. But you know what I've learned to do? If I want to do business with certain people, I've got to check my attitude at the door. I can't let them know how I feel about them. Now, we're never going to have coffee. We're never going to drink and hang out. But you know what? I got to have a professional attitude toward them. You go into your doctor's office for a treatment, you don't want them to have a funky attitude towards you. You want them to have a cheerful, inviting, upbringing attitude, upbeat, if you will. I go to Starbucks. I don't want the person having a bad attitude about my latte because I'm worried about what they might do to it. How is your attitude, folks? It's something we just don't think matters, but it does matter. And let me just tell you this, people can smell a bad attitude a mile away. You think you can hide it because you put on a little makeup and got your Coach bag, but we can still see the attitude. We can still see it and we can feel it. Hey, this is Lewis Howard Live. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to continue the conversation on brace yourself. It's a pandemic. Brace yourself. It's a crisis. Brace yourself. It's 2020 and things are not going well. They're not going as well as you like. You got to brace yourself because we're about to enter a new year, and how you end something is how you jump into it. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this message.
The Millionaire Club charity is one of Seattle's oldest existing charities. In addition to job placement and employment services, the Millionaire Club provides job training and licensing to help workers become qualified and job ready, from nutritious meals and sack lunches to housing assistance to stabilize their lives. Despite its name, the donors to the Millionaire Club are ordinary citizens with a desire and passion to help fellow citizens overcome the barriers of employment and housing. For more information, call 206-728-JOBS. or go to millionaireclub.org.
Hey, this is Lewis Howard Live. I so appreciate you staying with us for the conversation. These are not easy conversations, but they're real. And they're conversations that I think people need to have, they need to talk about, and it's helpful. So if I can be a mouthpiece to help you change and get one thought that makes a difference in your life, I'm all down for it. Even if I have only one listener and that one listener gets impacted by what I say, it's worth it. I'm not in this for fame. I'm not in this for attention. I'm in this to make a difference, which is why we do these shows and put them out around the world, because we want to be changed. I grew up tough. I grew up with 3 mothers and 2 fathers. I went to 11 schools in 10 school seasons. I had the lowest self-esteem that any person I think could have. And I had to get over all of that. I had to break through all of that. And if I can do it, you can do it. You're probably in a much better position than I am. You probably didn't have the things that I had to go through. You can do it. And so this is what this show really is about. If I had to change the name, I'd call it You Can Do It. You can make a difference in your world. It takes one thought, one mindset at a time. So today we're talking about brace yourself, steady yourself, be steady in every single situation. Be the person that other people can count on. So let's talk about relationships, right? Because we are relationship-driven culture. We got Facebook where we have relationships with people we don't even know, but they like us. They like our Instagram. They like our Spotify. They like what we do on TikTok, and we have relationships. We have people that we're partners with, we're in business with. We have coworkers, employees, and staff, husbands, wives, sons, and daughters. We are about relationships, but you got to be stable in those relationships. You got to steady your relationship. If you're the man of the house or the head of the house, the mom of the house, you got to steady yourself when you get hit. You can't let yourself fall apart. I love there's a commercial out that says parents don't get a snow day. They don't get to take a day off. The kids still require breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You got to be steady in those relationships, and that's not easy. But here's the deal about steadiness and relationships. You can't hang around weak people. Weak people will weaken your structure. They won't allow you to hold your ground. Weak people give you bad advice, bad counsel. They're usually negative. They're Johnny Debbie Downers. They always have something negative to say. They are not supportive. They can't be steady in their own life. How can it help you be steady in your own life? So sometimes you have to take an audit, right? That's a term that accountants use. It's a term that the IRS uses. And so what they do is they come to your finances and they audit you. They audit your expenses. They audit what you have claimed on your taxes. They audit your books to see if what you said is accurate. Sometimes you got to audit your own life. I think this pandemic has given many of us an opportunity to audit. Take some time. We've been under stay-at-home orders around the world to various different degrees, and you have to audit yourself. You got to check yourself before you wreck yourself. I would rather check me than have somebody else check me. I can do a better job if I'm checking myself. Most people feel like they need coaches and life coaches and things to constantly help them, but you are your own best coach. You are your own best insight. Why? Because you know yourself better than anybody. You know when you tell a lie. You know when you tell the truth. You know when you're being transparent, and you know when you're being slim shady. You know you better than anybody. So in relationships, one of the ways that you steady yourself is, one, don't hang around weak people. Two, have an accountability with your own self. If you say you're going to lose 20 pounds, don't put it on Facebook. You don't need to put it on Instagram. Get up and do the exercise 5 or 6 days a week and make it rain. If you say you're going to start the new business, you don't need to put it out there so everybody can know. Here's one thing I've learned as I've matured in life. I've learned to keep more and more to myself. I've learned to not put so much out in the public view. I'm a public figure, and of course, a lot of my life is transparent, but there's a lot of things you don't know because I don't tell you, and I don't put it on Facebook. I don't put it on social media. Here's why: because I don't want people throwing salt on my game. I don't want people throwing salt on my ideas. So I've learned in relationships with people, you can't tell everybody your whole heart. You can't tell everybody your dream. You can't tell everybody your plan. You may want to because you're excited about it, but sometimes you tell the wrong person and they throw salt on your food, and you didn't want salt. I like my food salt-free. So keep it to yourself. Find the strongest people that you know. Find people that intimidate you because they're so successful. They'll help steady you because they're going to tell you the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth. If you run with weak people, right, that old saying, if you soar with turkeys, it's hard to fly with eagles, because eagles and turkeys are not of the same DNA. Eagles fly through storms. They're the only bird that looks for a storm, that flies a slipstream and gets higher above the storm. The question is, are you an eagle or are you a turkey? Are you running with eagles or are you running with turkeys? You got to ask yourself. Sometimes you got to take inventory, and if you're driving the bus, you got to make some stops and get some turkeys off the bus. You got to get some people off your life. That's a hard deal. I've had to do it. It's not fun, but you know what? I want to brace myself for any event, for anything that's come. So less is more. You don't need a bunch of people in your elevator. You don't need a bunch of people blowing in your ear trying to give you advice. Sometimes you need 2 or 3 good people that's going to tell you the truth. Even if you don't want to hear the truth, you got to brace yourself as far as your relationships. Last thing on brace is, what do you believe? What is your belief? I believe in this. I believe in that. You ask some people what they believe, they don't even give you a straight answer. Well, I believe a little bit of this. I believe a little bit of that. I believe this. I believe that. You know, you ask people if they believe in God. Well, I believe there's something out there. Well, I believe there's some in the universe. Well, I don't believe really it doesn't affect my everyday life. Okay, what do you really believe? What are you committed to? Because to brace yourself, right? So going back to the break your ankle analogy. So I have to go to my doctor and I have to believe that if he gives me this brace and I wear this brace for 4 to 6 weeks, that my ankle is going to get better. I have to believe that. I can't take the brace and as soon as I get the brace home, I go, I don't believe that. I'm going to take that off. But that's a lot of where people live. They hear something and then they just discount it. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Well, what do you believe? What are you committed to? In life, even if you believe something and you're wrong about it, that's okay, because we make mistakes and you can always recover. You get a bad hairdo, like a lot of people in Seattle, they do some strange stuff to their hair. That's why I'm broadcasting our show from. And they color their hair, they cut their hair, they do some different stuff to it. But here's the deal about the hair. It always grows back. You make a mistake with your hair, it'll grow back. You make a mistake with your money, it'll come back. You can make more. But you got to believe in the risk that you're willing to take, because in risk is strength. In risk is opportunity, and in risk is reward. So that's what it means to brace yourself. So when bad times come, and they will come, and if you're listening to me today and you've never had a bad time, just wait, it's coming. If you listen to me and you say nothing of what you said applies to me, this was a waste of my 28 minutes to listen to you, hold that MP3, MP4, however you got me, because at some point in your life, you're going to go back. I saw this guy on TV and I heard him on a podcast, and OMG, this is happening, because life will catch you. It'll catch you. It's kind of like this. You can go and eat in the restaurant. You can order whatever you want after the meal, and you can feel good about it. But guess what's going to happen at the end of that bill? At the end of that meal, the bill is going to come. In life, trust me, the bill will come, and you got to be ready to brace yourself. So you got to focus on, how's my emotions? How's my commitment? How's my attitude? How's my relationships? And how is my belief system? Thank you for joining us for a quick conversation. We appreciate you. You can catch us on YouTube channel. You can catch us on LewisHowardLive.com, Spotify, podcast, Apple iTunes, Blog Talk Radio. There's so many ways you can catch us. And we invite you to tell a friend to tell a friend. And email us, check us out, give us some feedback. Boy, we've had some big turnouts on some of the shows recently. And of course, now we're live, we're televised on podcasts and reaching you around the world. It's real, it's raw. And I believe that there's somebody that's tuned in today, that this word is going to make a difference in you, in your business, in your goal, in your purpose. You're going to do a better job tomorrow bracing yourself, because we still got the rest of this year to get to, and we got a new year that's going to start out. Thanks again for being part of the conversation. We'll see you again on another edition of Lewis Howard Live. Stay with us. We'll catch you on another program.